I'm Jake.
And I'm Marlin.
And welcome back to the Movie Buff Reactions channel. For those who may not know, around the time this video is going up, the Blues Brothers, the music, action, comedy classic starring Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, is now 40 years old. This has kind of been the year of movies turning 40.
It has been, yes.
Empire, The Shining. Over on my main YouTube channel, me and Guy did a James C. review of the original Blues Brothers. So I thought over here on the reaction channel, we're going to be reacting to something related to the sequel to kind of tie into the anniversary, and just because there's more reviews made for the sequel because, well, it sucks. Have you ever seen the sequel?
Not much of it.
I watched it years ago, and before I even got into internet reviewers, my first thought was, this is not as good as the original. I mean, kind of weird to do a Blues Brothers movie without John Belushi, and yes, he's dead, but that's all the more reason not to. So today we're going to be reacting to the Blockbuster Busters 2015, I believe, review of Blues Brothers 2000. You looking forward to this?
Looking forward to it.
Without further ado, let's watch. Many years
Ladies
ago.
and gentlemen, Channel Awesome proudly brings to you a review of the second film featuring the musical adventures of the master blues band of Joliet Jake and Elwood Blues, the Blues Brothers. And now, your reviewer, the buster of bad movies, the destroyer of DVDs, the slayer of silly cinema, the Blockbuster
Erod.
Buster.
He moves fast for a short guy. Old intro.
I like this intro.
Yeah. Simple, short, and got a good kick-ass vibe to it.
Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. I'm Erod, and I'm the Blockbuster Buster. Allow me
He
to
dresses
take you
up
back
good.
to the 80s. Our heroes were noble, our villains were frightening, and our entertainers were not cool. They were super cool. In the late 70s, legendary comedians Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi found a common bond through their hatred of disco and the general music scene of the era. So instead of whining about it, they decided to put their own rhythm and blues band together and teach us children of the 80s what truly great music was all about. They assembled some of the greatest musicians in the business, like Paul Schaefer, Matt Guitar Murphy, and Mr. Fabulous, just to name a few. And to keep their TV and music careers separate, Aykroyd and Belushi adopted alter egos when playing with the band, Joliet Jake and Elwood Blues, the Blues Brothers. The band became a cult hit thanks to a few successful appearances on Saturday Night Live. And eventually, a film was made, written by Aykroyd himself and directed by superstar director John Landis. The Blues Brothers movie remains one of the greatest and by far most unique films ever made.
Yep.
Combining the comedy genius of Belushi and Aykroyd, music by some of the greatest rhythm and blues performers of all time, and some of the most spectacular car stunts you will ever see. Yes, I highly recommend the original Blues Brothers movie. That movie gets 10 points on the bad attitude meter.
Fuck yeah.
Then, came the sequel. The sequel that never should have been. Why? Because in 1982, John Belushi tragically died, and as far as the fans were concerned, any prospect of a sequel should have died with him. Unfortunately, Aykroyd continued making appearances with the band, along with John's brother James Belushi as Brother Z Blues, and John Goodman as Mighty Mac Blues in the place of Joliet Jake. As the years passed, Aykroyd tried time and time again to revive the Blues Brothers in another medium. An animated series was the most confounding of all of these attempts. Finally, in the late 90s, it was announced
also a
that the
video
notorious
game.
Jake-less sequel was on its way. Now, most of us optimistic fans thought to ourselves, hey, it might have a different flavor, but it's still Blues Brothers, right? Our optimism was quickly shattered with the announcement that James Belushi wasn't going to be part of the movie due to a scheduling conflict with his sitcom, according to Jim. This was followed by one report after the other of studio interference and director John Landis' displeasure with the production. And then there's the other thing. While we all can agree that Dan Aykroyd is awesome, hell, he's one of my personal heroes. He created Blues Brothers and Ghostbusters. However, he doesn't have the best success rate when it comes to writing sequels. After all, Ghostbusters 2 is a shameful rehashing of Ghostbusters 1.
Agree
With
or
all that
disagree?
said, let's venture forward. I have a bad movie in the DVD player, a hammer in hand, I'm indoors, and I'm wearing sunglasses. Hit it. So our movie begins the exact same way as the original movie. Danny boy, this is already looking bad. Only this time, instead of Jake being released from jail, it is Elwood who is checking out. He takes his place in front of the prison and he waits. And he waits. And he waits. And he... What is he waiting on?
Is that Elwood Blues?
Frank Oz.
Yes, sir. Released yesterday. Did you tell him about Jake? No, sir. I thought you told him. I'm sorry.
Oh my God! Are you serious? This is how they chose to start this fast-paced musical comedy? This is horrifyingly depressing. His brother died and nobody told him? And how come all these other people knew? It's bad enough
Weird.
that we lost one of the greatest comedians of all time while he was still technically at the beginning of his career. But to be reminded in such a blunt fashion, it's just jarring, off-putting, and depressing.
Agreed.
Nice thinking, Ray.
Eventually, Elwood's former drummer, Willie Hall, sends a stripper to go pick him up. Classy. And like in the original movie, one of the first things that the Blues Brothers do when they get out of jail is see the Penguin. While the scene in the original movie was very slapstick, funny, and dynamic, in this movie the scene is just a cavalcade of endless exposition.
He was very upset when the orphanage closed.
Wait, the orphanage is closed? The orphanage that Jake and Elwood spent the entire first movie trying to save is closed.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me.
Which makes the first film a waste of time.
Where is Curtis?
Curtis has gone on as well, Elwood. I'm sorry.
Curtis was the closest thing to a dad that Jake and I ever had.
Thank you for reminding me that Cab Calloway died. Hadn't quite
Well,
gotten over you reminding me that John Belushi died.
couldn't bring him back.
You remember when these movies were comedies? The Penguin further exposits that Curtis had an illegitimate son named Cable Chamberlain and tells Elwood not to seek out Cable. Then why did you tell Elwood about him? And last but not least, she introduces him to an orphan named Buster and tells Elwood
Yep, to
to
bring a
mentor
little
him.
kid into this.
Wait, what? First of all, the Penguin didn't even trust the Blues Brothers to raise the money to save the orphanage. Why would she trust him with a little kid? Secondly, she just handed a child to a convicted felon. Who does that? And thirdly, you've known Elwood all his life. He's always getting into trouble. What would make her think that Elwood's gonna start following her instructions now? Ow! Penguin! So of course Elwood does the complete opposite of what the Penguin asked and takes Buster to go meet Cable. So get this, Elwood Blues, one of the smoothest con men and outlaws in all of fiction, walks into a policeman's office, reveals to him that he is a bastard, then asks him to give up police work to join his band, and then finally asks him for $500 to buy a new Bluesmobile. Cable, of course, responds in the most appropriate manner.
Oh, don't ever come back here again!
Interestingly enough, that is the most logical moment in this movie. But as it turns out, Buster lifted Cable's wallet, and Elwood uses the money to buy a new Bluesmobile. Wait, hold on. How come he
Yeah.
He took him to a strip club? He took a 10-year-old to a strip club! So, 30 minutes into the original movie, we had already seen an awesome car chase and a song and dance number with the godfather of soul, James Brown. Here, lots of talking, indecent exposure to a minor, and depressing reminders of dead celebrities. Honestly, all this movie does is make you wish you were watching the original movie.
It's been almost 7 days, Mother Mary. We must call the police. Think of poor Buster. Kidnapping is a federal offense.
I suppose you're right. We should call the police.
Oh, so you want the
waited
negligent
a
imbecile
week?
that put the child's care in the hands of a criminal to be punished. Yeah, because that was you. You were the one that did that, you stupid little... Ow! Stupid penguin! So Elwood ends up working as a singer at the strip club. Because strip clubs need singers.
They actually do have a few.
There, he meets and sometimes sings with the bartender, Mac. When suddenly, he notices that Russian gangsters are collecting protection money from Willie. So Elwood takes it upon himself to fix the situation by getting the Russians drunk and then dumping them in an alley in their underwear. Wait, that's it? You really think that that is going to stop them? Oh well. Elwood is a criminal, so if anybody knows how to deal with Russian mobsters, he would. So I'm just gonna trust...
Yeah. That was a lot dumber in this version.
Never mind.
Time to go.
Alright, time for a kick-ass car chase.
Tax.
That's it? Why am I shocked?
The Lord works in mysterious ways, Mac.
What do you mean, Elwood?
Since the Russians torched Willie's club, he'll need a job. You'll need a job. I'll need a job. So, you'll join the band, and we'll all have jobs.
That's not the Lord working in mysterious ways. God didn't burn down the strip club. The Russian mob did because you fuck with them. And also, how is putting the band back together going to help all of the strip club employees that are now unemployed? I swear, you are dumber than the nun. Ah, it's kissing me. Oh!
And
So Mac and Buster suit up in order to
Yep.
go reassemble the missing members of the
the little
band.
kid's now in a
Just like in
suit.
the original movie. And guess what? They go to get Matt Guitar Murphy and Blue Lou Marini first. And of course, just like in the first movie, Matt's wife, played by the First Lady of Soul, Aretha Franklin, is not happy that Matt is rejoining the band. Ugh, so many scenes are repeated. This is beyond sequelitis. It's like someone punched a hole in the fabric of space and created a time skip. And the events of the first film are spontaneously repeating themselves. Ugh, this is depressing. Miss Franklin, can you please drive my blues away?
I give it this. The music is pretty good.
Hey, what you want? Hey, I got it. What you need? You know I got it. All I'm asking is for the rest back when you get home. Hey, tell me when you get home. Hey, to give me my caracas when you move.
Good choreography. Kid can dance.
Wherever I go.
So can Erod. In a small confined area.
Pretty impressive. Should see him dancing the other stuff he does. Really moves, really gets around. Yeah, it's funny.
I love that woman. So it's the same old shit. They go around finding and recruiting the missing band members. Only this time there's no mission, no orphanage to save, nothing. They're just going around causing random mayhem for no good reason, which kills any kind of urgency or emotional investment from the
Yeah, that
audience.
was a weird scene
And
there
because there
with
are not enough
Doritos.
moments from the first movie in this film, their first gig turns out to be a mistake. But just for variety's sake, this time around, the Blues Brothers have to pretend to be a bluegrass band instead of a country western band. Oh, it's totally different.
Get ready for the weirdest part, well, second weirdest part of the movie.
An old cowboy went riding out one dark and windy day. Upon a ridge he rested as he went along his way. When all at once a mighty herd of red-eyed cows he saw plowing through the ragged sky.
What the?
Yeah. This movie gets weird pretty fast. Ghostbusters 2.
Riding hard to catch that bird, but they ain't caught him yet. 'Cause they got to ride forever in that rage up in the sky. On horses starting fire.
Thor. Russian, I believe.
What the hell was all that? Yes, there were fantastic moments in the original, but the Blues Brothers were on a mission from God.
We're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God.
So it is implied that the improbable moments are due to divine intervention. Here, there's nothing. Random insanity just continues to occur.
Like a glove.
I mean, could it possibly get more random?
Okay, here's the strangest moment in the film.
This is my God-given
Now that was some straight up David Copperfield shit.
Did anybody just see him fly through the roof and magically change clothes? What? Nobody? Really? Could we at least
Big
get a
lipped
cool car
alligator
chase?
moment.
Don't look back.
And sadly, this sequence set the world record for the most car crashes in a movie.
Part of the band. Seriously, nobody saw him fly through the. Oh, never mind. So there's the battle of the bands. Yeah, there's a battle of the bands now. Wish they would have built that up a little bit more throughout the movie. But before they are allowed to compete, they must audition for Queen Masette, played by the very lovely and very talented Erod.
Where are your instruments?
Well, ma'am, you see, there was this kind of a.
Never mind.
Wait, she's an actual witch with actual paranormal abilities? Did Dan Aykroyd forget what movie he was writing?
Who you gonna call? Someone else.
Casper.
Is there anything in particular you would like to hear this evening, Your Highness?
Yes. Do something Caribbean.
Ma'am, we're the Blues Brothers. We do blues, rhythm and blues, jazz, funk, soul. We can handle rock, pop, country, heavy metal, fusion, hip-hop, rap, Motown, operetta, show tunes.
The Blues
In fact,
Brothers doing
we've
rap.
been called upon on
That'd be
occasion
interesting to
do
see.
polka. However, Caribbean is a type of music, I regret to say, which has not been, is simply not, nor will ever be a part of this band's repertoire.
Yeah, the Blues Brothers don't do Caribbean music.
Okay, third strangest thing in the movie. They're now green zombies.
Night song's gone funky. Night song's gone soul. We got a double beat now. We're gonna call our very own. Night song's gone funky. Night song's gone soul. And we got a doggone beat now. We're gonna take care of business too.
Don't stop singing. It's funky. It's funky.
Look how big her ass is.
It's a bustle.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Now that's funky. Thank you.
We're in, Elwood. Let's get out of here. El? Mac? Cat?
Wait, the Blues are still frozen? Why?
The Blues Brothers Show Band! Has not been, is not, nor will ever be a part of this band's repertoire.
Oh, I get it. This moment is a metaphor for how times change, but R&B music remains frozen in time until an
Or
audience
just a
is ready
stupid
for its
joke.
rhythmic tunes once more. Or it's just a random pointless moment to go along with all the other random pointless moments. The Battle of the Bands itself is pretty uneventful. They play opposite to another band comprised of some of the greatest musicians of all time. Then the audience votes, and they lose. That's right. The Blues Brothers go through all of that, and they lose. Now that is the perfect metaphor for the quality of this movie.
And as deep as Rocky.
Oh no, it's the Russians! Figures. So the police show up to arrest Elwood for kidnapping Buster and... Wait. It's okay. Buster can just go up to the police and let him know that Elwood didn't kidnap him.
You
I don't
guys
think that would work
distracted.
even if they tried
I'll
it.
kidnap Elwood.
Guys, you don't have to run. Buster can just explain things to the police and they will drop the... Oh, never mind. So they run away with every police officer in the planet chasing after them. The end.
There's also an after credits
This
scene with
movie
James
is
Brown.
A complete, utter disappointment. The original
Yeah.
movie is non-stop excitement, music, and humor, while this one is just repeated moments, corny jokes, random insanity, complete with a lackluster conclusion. I love Dan Aykroyd, but I'm glad the Blues Brothers have stayed away from the silver screen since 1998. Because it is obvious that the magic died with the original movie, and this one must be busted. I can't do it. I love the Blues Brothers way too much.
some power from the DVD. Something he does.
What the hell? Why does it look like an inflatable pool toy? Does this thing even work? Holy shit! Alright, Ray. See you on the other side.
Ghost trap.
Improvised a containment device.
Yeah! Ray Parker Jr. was right. Busting makes me feel good. So that was one busted, thousands more to go. I'm Erod, and I'm the Blockbuster Buster.
So that was the Blues Brothers 2000 review by the Blockbuster Buster. What'd you think?
I don't think he liked it much.
I don't fault him. I don't like it much either.
And just picking up the scenes that he did, like I said, I hadn't ever watched the whole thing front to back, that's for sure. There are too many dumb things in here for it to really put together. Before, you know, you had Ray Charles, you know, firing the gun at the kid, and you know,
Yeah.
just fun stuff. This is just nuts, and just based on the kind of things he brought up here, I think he's very articulate in pointing out the magic isn't here.
You can feel the love he has for the original.
Yeah.
Erod has stated multiple times the original Blues Brothers is one of his all-time favorite films, and it's one of my favorite movies as well, just for how it blends action, comedy, and music. It's the kind of movie that normally shouldn't work, but it did. It's like
Well, it had a storyline. This seems to
just be.
Yeah.
The premise, Elwood gets out of prison and he goes and gets a job at the drummer's strip joint, which just seemed like an excuse to show a whole bunch of ass, because PG-13. And after it burns down because of, what he did, he just starts regrouping the band, and there's no real reason. He just keeps doing it, and they're all much older now.
Yes.
They have legit jobs, and my biggest issue with Blues Brothers 2000 is Elwood is a fucking asshole in this movie. For the whole film, it just seems like he's ruining all these people's lives, and there's no good cause that he's trying to regroup them for.
No mission from God.
Yeah. Just seems like he's destroying lives that have been well set up, and he's a complete, also, there's a scene where they encounter this band played by the actual band Blues Traveler.
Mm-hmm.
They say they're huge fans and they'd be honored if he could listen to one of their songs. He says, sure. They walk off, he gets in the car and says, let's haul ball, and then drives off. And that moment, when I watched the movie, that just made me really hate Elwood. This version of Elwood.
Yeah. He was very dependable in the things that he set out to do in the original. But this was just a collection of gags, is what it seemed like.
Yeah. And the consensus is the movie sucks, but the soundtrack is a pretty good beat to listen to. Like, not all the songs I'd call favorites, but they're fun. They have a pretty fun rendition of 8, 6, 7, 5, 309,
Mm-hmm.
and put a whole new spin on it. And Aretha Franklin, her song is probably the best in the film.
Yes, it's one of her best too.
Unfortunately, with Cab Calloway dead and Ray Charles just deciding this just wasn't, he didn't want to do this, we only have Aretha and James Brown. And James Brown the song he gets during the church tent sequence, it's not even fully him. The song opens with Sam, I believe, from Sam and Dave, playing a singing Reverend. And after singing for 5 minutes of John the Revelator, the cops show up to arrest the Blues Brothers, and then James Brown comes out, and it's just mostly him preaching with Sam. And then the cop goes through the tent, becomes a Blues Brother, and the two of them sing John the Revelator together, and that's kind of it. Unless you stick to the end credits, because there's an after credits scene where see this woman say to James Brown, "I am leaving you," and he just sings, "Please, please, don't go." It feels like a deleted scene that, yeah,
we got to use this somewhere.
totally wouldn't have fit, but even as an after credit, it still don't fit.
As far as Erod goes, I thought he did he's really talented and imaginative and creative, doing a lot with a little. And it started out with Erod, like the Blues Brothers. And
Nice little touch.
yeah, and his dancing portions of the dance numbers, well done.
He pretty much perfectly reenacted the stuff you saw them doing on screen.
Yeah.
Particularly with Buster, probably because in size-wise, they're the closest.
Well, I don't know about that, but he was also doing it in a very confined shooting space. So, now he did very well on this. He's been very articulate. He talked about what a completely slow start this movie had, like an anti-comedy start and a very slow start.
The film opened with a text that said, "Dedicated to John, Cab, and John," I believe. The other John being John Candy. And in this mini review I did of the Blues Brothers movies years ago, I said that was the only part of the film that really made me smile. And the ending where he, with the help of his special effect guy, Billy Joe Grant, I believe, had a pretty fun, albeit short, busting of the DVD sequence.
Yeah, that was a change-up.
And it's nice that he acknowledged, yeah, it's low budget, is this an inflatable pool toy? But the stream and the little box to suck it in, that was a pretty well done effect, I think.
And it was good, almost like an afterthought. Oop, we need containment device.
And the part of I loved how he goes into the history of the Blues Brothers at the beginning, talking about how they came to be through Aykroyd and Belushi's hatred of disco. So, another thing for you to connect with them on.
Yeah, the 70s and the disco portion of the 70s was, I found it was pretty boring. A few good acts, but nobody had consistent music that I appreciated.
I like the Bee Gees, but that's just me. I don't agree with his opinion on Ghostbusters 2, but agree to disagree, I guess. One thing I kind of think was well done, was a good portion of the movie, when he wasn't given awful dialogue, was John Goodman as Mighty Mac.
And in this, I didn't see much of John Goodman. He was.
But
you've seen the movie, so yeah.
That's just because it's John Goodman.
Yeah.
And he actually has a not bad singing voice.
Oh yeah, he was great. King Ralph. he did some kick-ass music in that.
Yeah. And can't think of much else other than the sequel should not have been made, and John Landis said they went into it with the best hopes, and this is what he said, almost a quote, "I knew from day one we were fucked."
Well, he didn't get too far into it then with high hopes. So.
Well, better to be fucked than
You should have read. You should have read the script. Yeah.
Aykroyd and Landis wrote the script together.
Oh, jeez. Should have known better. I will say one thing. Erod made a lot of attempt to show how much he really likes Dan Aykroyd. He even used the Ghostbuster, containment of the and all that other kind of thing, and while at the same time talking about how much he really hated this movie. So he walked that line, and I thought he pulled it off very well.
Dan Aykroyd's, he's had an interesting career. Blues Brothers, Ghostbusters, many other films of his are classics. Oscar nominated for his role in Driving Miss Daisy. But starting with the 90s, he just really started going down, and anyway, I just thought it'd be a fun little reaction to do with the 40th anniversary of the original coming up. Hope you, if you like this, leave a like, maybe check out the other videos, and if you like those, maybe subscribe, and like I said earlier, me and Guy did a review of the original Blues Brothers on my other YouTube channel. Maybe check that out if you're interested, and hope you enjoyed us talking, and we will see you later.
Later.